I'm Tatum, and I spent 28 years believing my son would always need me. The text came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was at the pharmacy picking up my blood pressure medication when my phone buzzed. Don't expect me to care for you in old age. You're on your own. I stood there staring at the screen for a full minute before I called him. Marcus, what is this?
Exactly what it says, Mom.
But I just asked if you could help me move the furniture this weekend. How does that…
And I'm tired of it, he cut me off. You're always asking for something. My time, my money, my attention. Vivian and I have our own lives.
I rarely ask you for anything.
You asked me to lend you $2,000 last month.
For the roof repair, which I paid back in 3 weeks.
And before that, you wanted me to drive you to your follow-up appointment.
Because I couldn't drive after the procedure, Marcus. The doctor said…
There's always something. Vivian says you're emotionally manipulative.
That word hit like cold water. Vivian said that?
She's right. You guilt me into helping you, and I'm done. We're saving for a house, and we can't keep being your backup plan.
I raised you alone after your father left. I worked 2 jobs to put you through college.
And you never let me forget it, do you? That's the manipulation right there.
My hands were shaking. So when I need help, I'm manipulating you. But when you needed someone to co-sign your first apartment lease, that was different?
I was 22.
And when you totaled your car at 25 and needed mine for 6 months while you saved for another one?
That's what parents do.
Exactly. That's what parents do. And apparently, children don't. He was quiet for a moment. Then his voice went cold.
We're not doing this anymore. Don't call asking for favors. Don't expect visits. And definitely don't expect me to take care of you when you get old and needy.
Marcus. The line went dead. I drove home in a daze and called my sister Claudette. He said what? Claudette's voice went sharp. I repeated the conversation, my voice breaking halfway through. That little… She stopped herself. I'm coming over. You don't have to.
I'm coming over.
An hour later, Claudette sat at my kitchen table, fury written across her face. Who does he think he is? He thinks I'm a burden.
You're 62, Tatum. You're not asking him to change your diapers. You asked him to help move a couch.
Vivian thinks I'm manipulative.
Vivian.
Claudette said the name like it tasted bad.
That girl has been poisoned since day one. Remember when she told Marcus you were too involved in his life because you called him twice a week?
She said I was smothering him.
You were being a mother. There's a difference.
Claudette leaned forward. What are you going to do? I don't know.
Well, I know what I'd do. I'd make sure he understood exactly what he's giving up.
I looked at her. What do you mean?
Your will. Everything you have goes to Marcus, right?
I nodded slowly.
Change it.
Claudette,
I'm serious. He just told you not to expect anything from him. Fine. He shouldn't expect anything from you either.
I sat with that thought for a long moment. I have the house, my retirement accounts, about $80,000 in savings.
And your life insurance policy, the one that pays out $250,000.
I'd forgotten about that. I always assumed…
He assumed too. And now he's assuming he can treat you like garbage and still inherit everything you've worked for.
He's my son.
He's a grown man who just abandoned his mother.
Claudette's voice softened. Tatum, I love you. But you need to stop protecting people who hurt you.
Heard you weren't feeling well, Perry said.
He was 74, lived alone since his wife passed, and we'd been neighbors for 15 years. I'm fine, Perry, thank you.
You don't look fine. You look like someone died.
I let him in because lying seemed exhausting. We sat in the living room, and I told him everything. Perry listened without interrupting. then set down his coffee cup.
Your son's an idiot.
Perry,
No, hear me out. My daughter lives in Seattle. Calls me once a month if I'm lucky. But you know what? When her husband left her with 2 kids and no job, I sent her $20,000. Know why? Because she's my daughter, and that's what you do. But she never forgot it. She paid me back, and now she calls every Sunday.
Marcus isn't like that anymore.
Because you let him off the hook every time. You raised him to think sacrifice only goes one direction.
Maybe I did.
So what are you going to do about it?
I'm changing my will tomorrow.
Perry nodded. Good. What are you changing it to?
I hadn't thought that far. I don't know yet.
Split it between people who actually show up for you. Your sister, that nurse who helped you after your surgery. Hell, leave some to the animal shelter.
But make sure Marcus knows exactly why.
You think I should tell him?
Eventually. Let him sit with his choices first. Friday came. Helena's office smelled like leather and old books. So what changes are we making? Helena asked, pen ready. Everything goes to my sister Claudette. The house, the savings, the retirement accounts, the life insurance, all of it. Helena wrote for a moment, then looked up. And your son Marcus receives nothing? Nothing. Tatum, you should know that in most states, children can contest a will if they're completely disinherited. You need a specific reason. He told me not to expect anything from him when I'm old. He said I'm manipulative and I'm on my own. That's not a reason? Helena's expression shifted. Actually, yes, that's abandonment. We'll include a clause explaining that Marcus explicitly rejected any future responsibility for your care and requested no further contact. That makes your decision legally defensible. Will he be able to fight it? He can try, but if you include the text message as evidence and document any other instances of abandonment, it becomes very difficult to claim he was unjustly excluded. We spent an hour going through everything. Helena drafted the new will, and I signed it with 2 witnesses. Walking out of that office, I felt lighter than I had in days. I didn't hear from Marcus for 2 more weeks. Then my phone rang at 9 at night. Mom, it's me. Hello, Marcus. I need a favor. The audacity nearly made me laugh. What kind of favor? Vivian's car broke down, and the repair is $3,000. We don't have it right now, and you need a loan. Just until next month. We're getting our tax refund. No. Silence. What? I said no, Marcus. Mom, we really need this. And I really needed help moving furniture. I really needed a ride to my doctor's appointment. I really needed my son not to tell me I'm manipulative for existing. I was stressed. You were clear. You don't want to be responsible for me, so I won't be responsible for you. This is different. How? Explain to me how this is different. He couldn't. The silence stretched until he hung up. Claudette called an hour later. Marcus just called me asking for money. He called you? Said you were being unreasonable, and would I talk sense into you? I told him to lose my number. 3 months passed. I heard nothing from Marcus, which told me everything. He'd only called because he wanted something, and when I said no, I stopped existing to him. I spent that time reconnecting with people who actually cared. Perry and I started having dinner twice a week. Claudette visited every Sunday. I volunteered at the library. Then in June, I had a heart attack. I was at home when the pain started. I managed to call 911 before everything went dark. I woke up in the hospital with Claudette holding my hand. You're okay, Claudette whispered. You had surgery. They put in a stent. I looked around the room. Marcus? Claudette's face hardened. I called him, told him you were in the hospital, that you'd had a heart attack. And? He said he'd try to make it when things calmed down at work. The words landed like physical blows. He said that? 3 times I called him over 2 days. He said he was busy. He never came. Perry stepped forward from the window. I've been here every day. Claudette hasn't left except to shower. Your library friends brought flowers. But your son? Nothing. I closed my eyes. My son had abandoned me completely. Not in anger, but with cold indifference when I needed him most. I want to add something to my will, I said. Tatum, you just had surgery. I want it documented that Marcus was informed of my heart attack and chose not to visit. Helena came to the hospital that afternoon with the paperwork. I signed an amendment with a nurse and Perry as witnesses. A week later, I was home recovering when Marcus finally called. Hey, Mom. Heard you were in the hospital. You okay? The casualness made my blood run cold. You heard? Yeah, Aunt Claudette left me a voicemail. Sorry I couldn't make it. Work was crazy. You couldn't visit your mother after a heart attack because of work? It wasn't that serious, was it? I mean, you're fine now. I could have died, Marcus. But you didn't. Look, I actually called because Vivian and I are getting married in September, and we need help with the venue deposit. You're calling to ask for money. Well, her parents are paying for most of it, but no. Mom, come on. This is my wedding. And this was my life. I could have died alone in that hospital, and you were too busy to show up. But now you need money, so suddenly I exist again. That's not fair. You weren't there, Marcus. When I was lying in that hospital bed, wondering if I was going to survive, you weren't there. Perry was there. Claudette was there. People who owe me nothing were there. But my son couldn't be bothered. I said work was busy. And I don't care. You made your choice. You told me not to expect anything from you. Well, don't expect anything from me. Not money, not approval, and not your inheritance. What? I changed my will. Everything goes to Claudette. The line went silent. You're joking. I've never been more serious. You can't do that. I already did. 3 months ago and again last week. It's done, Marcus. You wanted me out of your life. Congratulations. This is because I didn't visit? 1 time. This is because you abandoned me. You abandoned me when I asked for help. You abandoned me when I had a heart attack. You abandoned me every single day for months. And the only time you call is when you want something. That's not a son. That's a stranger. Marcus showed up at my house 2 days later with Vivian. I answered the door but didn't invite them in. We need to talk about this, Marcus said. There's nothing to talk about. Vivian stepped forward. Mrs. Chen, I think there's been a misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding. Marcus made himself clear 6 months ago, and I'm making myself clear now. Mom, I was upset when I sent that text. And I'm not upset. I'm done. There's a difference. You're really going to cut me out over one mistake? It wasn't one mistake. It was months of silence. It was refusing to help me. It was not showing up when I nearly died. It was every single choice you made that told me I don't matter to you. Vivian touched Marcus's arm. Maybe we should... No. Marcus's face was red now. This is insane. I'm your son. You can't just erase me. I'm not erasing you. You erased yourself. I'm just making it official. What about everything you always said about family? About being there for each other? I was there for you, every single time. And when I needed you, you told me I was manipulative for asking. So I stopped asking. I'll challenge the will. Go ahead. I have documentation, text messages, hospital records showing you never visited. My attorney made sure everything is airtight.
Vivian pulled at Marcus's sleeve.
Let's go.
This is your fault, Marcus said to me, his voice shaking. You pushed me away.
I asked you to help me move furniture. You responded by cutting me off. Don't rewrite history now that there's money involved.
They left. Marcus called 4 more times over the next week. I didn't answer. Claudette came over that Sunday.
He's been calling relatives, trying to make you look bad.
What are they saying?
Most people are on your side. Even Vivian's mother called me. She said Vivian had been trying to distance Marcus from you for years.
I'm not surprised.
How are you feeling?
I thought about it. Sad, but not guilty. I gave him everything and he threw it away. I'm just acknowledging what he already decided. 6 months later, I was in my garden when Perry came over.
Marcus was here yesterday looking for you. He wanted to know if I thought you'd change your mind.
What did you say?
I said you're one of the smartest people I know, and if you made a decision like this, you had good reason. He looked rough, like he's finally understanding what he lost.
That's not my problem anymore.
Perry nodded and we sat quietly for a moment before he asked, Do you think there's ever a point where a parent's sacrifice becomes an investment they're allowed to cash out? Or should unconditional love mean accepting being disposable?